Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video on my channel. So in this video, what I thought I would show you is something pretty cool that I kind of done by accident that I thought I would share with others because I thought it was funny and it also looks kind of fun, and wanted to see if anybody else wanted to, kind of copy this down, maybe to use maybe as an idea of their own project or do something really cool. But what I was trying to do in this project is figure out wall running, right? Where the whole gist is like you kind of have a line trace that would either hit left or right to detect if there's a wall, and then if you do, run along it. And because what I want to do is eventually do a tutorial video on how to do a proper wall run within the game animation sample. However, what I ended up doing instead was this, or maybe not that in particular. What I did was this. I found out wall boosting. So as you can see, when it detects a wall, it launches my character. And so instead of wall running, we got wall boosting instead. So that was pretty much kind of what I figured out. So if y'all would like to kind of jot this down or copy it down or use in your own projects, this is pretty much what I did, right? So as far as my debugging, and I'm going to explain what I did to accomplish this, was I wanted to do line tracing for the left-right wall, right? So kind of like how you would in the tri-traversal action function, that I set important values that were needed for me, and I did my own specific traces. However, I didn't do capsule traces. As you can see, I did line traces instead, and I didn't have any structure blueprints that you'll see. So if we go into it, you can see that I have a trace distance set because I have an input for my function. So if we go in, you'll see that I have a very basic, smaller version of the tri-traversal action. So what I did was I created a function check for left or right wall, where I added an input called trace distance and called it a float. And then when we go into the first part of the sequence, what I did was I created local variables, as you can see, to kind of copy the tri-traversal action, where I got my actor location and set it, I got my actor's right vector and set it, and then I captured the read-only node for the trace distance. So when you do set up an input for a function right here, the way you would retrieve it would be by doing this, just kind of like how you normally would for nodes anyway, or variables that you set. So you'll see right here, get trace distance. It pretty much is what this is. So what I did was I created a local variable called local trace distance, and then I created a byte instead and made it and set it into here, because which is a video I'm going to do in later to kind of go over bytes briefly, but you can use bytes to do enum values, which I'll go over why I'm using that for enum values rather than setting like an enum function. This is just better and more optimized than having to get an enumeration file for just specific, like this little specific thing. And then I created a draw debug duration float and am setting that. So as you can see with our first line trace that we do, is we are going to do a line trace to look for the right wall. So what I did was I grabbed my actor's location as the start point of the line trace, and then I got the actor location again. So if you ever seen my interaction mini series, you'll see that I basically did the same setup where I'd have my actor's location and I would get a plus to do an offset, so that way we can get we can offset it by getting the actor's right vector and then, setting a trace distance. So from me to my character, which in my function, if we come out into the event graph, I have to 150. So it's going to get my right vector and extend the line trace by 150 units in here as such, and then pass it into the offset of the actor location, so that way it goes to my right and extends 150 units. And that's where I want it to end to check for the right wall. So then, as you can see here from my draw debug level, I have grabbed the byte, because you can then convert a byte into an enum as a return variable and get it into the draw debug type. So for my draw debug level, I have it set to 2 because I want to get the duration of the debug type. And then my draw debug duration is 2.5 seconds because I don't want it lasting in the world for too long. So what I did to get the left wall is I did the exact same thing. However, I added a third pin to do to multiply everything by -1 because you can't get an actor left vector. It's either actor forward vector or actor right vector, because when you try to get like a backwards or left, that is technically a negate. And if you've ever set up input actions and you've modified like the input mapping context, they tell you for like your backwards motion or your left motion to use a negate modifier, which is basically kind of what I'm pseudo doing right here. So in order to get the left trace. So that's the only change in here. And then once I do that, what I've done was I connected both the line traces with an OR value, because I wanted to say, like, if I hit the right wall or the left wall, then launch character. And the only reason I even put launch character in here was because I was trying to do some research and using some tools to help me, and I saw a recommendation for launch character, even though that didn't make sense. But it had something to do with launching the character but then using overrides, so I'm still trying to figure that out. However, by setting it up the way I did, I ended up getting a little happy accident with just doing, you know, as you can see here, launching myself, which is hilarious because I actually want to try doing a mechanic with this if possible, as you can see. So I thought I would share that with everybody in case that y'all wanted to also, in case y'all also wanted to do something similar, maybe for your game, or maybe you can like further improve off of this idea that I have set. So that is for y'all's entertainment or enjoyment or use. So if you did like that, please check out my other videos and my future videos to come. But other than that, guys, y'all have a great rest of your day and take care.